Welcome to CivilNet. AIWA, or the Armenian International Women's Association, is holding a 3-day conference in Yerevan. And here to talk to me about the conference is Vice President of AIWA, Barbara Mergeurian, and Antonia Arslan, one of the panelists. Barbara, Antonia, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
This is a pretty impressive conference with a pretty impressive list of speakers. Barbara, if you will, please tell us a little bit about AIWA. For those in our audience who don't know or haven't heard about the Armenian International Women's Organization, when was it formed, what's its mission and its objectives today?
Okay, so the Armenian International Women's Association, we call it AIWA, established in 1990 in Boston, Massachusetts. And it was made up of a group of women who were active in the Armenian community and who were thinking about the role of women in the Armenian community. And don't forget, it was on the tail of the women's movement in the United States. And we looked at the Armenian community and we saw many, many organizations in the United States, of Armenian organizations of every kind, women's organizations, but no Armenian organization that was focusing solely on issues pertaining to women. Now we have the AGBU, they have women's groups, the churches have women's guilds, and they do wonderful things for the community, but not an organization that focused on women. So 3 of us came together. We were 3 founders. One of them was Eva Mergeurian, who comes to Armenia often. The other is Olga Prudian and myself. And as you know, the Armenian community is a little bit fractured, but we came from different parts of the community. Olga Prudian is actually the daughter of General Dro, so she's very much in that part of the community. Eva Mergeurian has been part of sort of the progressive, more left part of the community. And I guess I've been sort of in the middle. Mostly I'm an academic. So we decided that it was important to have an organization that is focused strictly on women's issues, and that is our mission. It was perhaps a coincidence that we were formed at the same time as the Armenian Republic. And so in those days, and it was a novelty then, we had all of these delegations coming to the United States from Armenia. And so we invited them to be part of the organization. So from the very beginning, we've had women from Armenia who've been active and who've worked with us. And so we had our first international conference in London in 1994, and then we went on to Paris in 1997. Our first international conference in Armenia was in 2000.
So it's really become a global sort of movement, or bringing together Armenian women from all over the world and not only focusing on North America.
Right. And you're right, bringing together, networking, we feel is a very key element in what we do, bringing women together. And there's something special that happens when you bring women together. There's a lot of power there.
Right, right. The conference that's going to be taking place here in Yerevan is called Armenian Women in Action, Building Communities Across the Globe. I want to talk with Antonia now. Antonia Arslan, I think you are... I think everybody in Armenia knows about you, Skylark Farm, your book that was made into a movie. You are originally from Italy. You're an Italian Armenian.
Yes.
You also are an academic. You're a lecturer, professor at university. When I was looking at the program, it says the Cross of Mush. What will you be talking about at the conference?
It's a wonderful little story. You know the story of the Book of Mush. Mm-hmm. About 5 years ago, a publishing company asked me for a little book, for a collection who has only little books, and I was in doubt. It should be something Armenian, but what So at a certain point I was in California, and at dinner I told to the other people with me that I had this idea to do something, but I had not take a decision. So one of them told me, I came from Gyumri. I was there. My grandfather was a survivor from Mush. Why are you not telling the story of the Book of Mush? In this moment, it came in my mind that my uncle Zareh from Aleppo
Was originally from?
no, told me the story so many years ago, and it was like a river, you know. So in a few months, I wrote the book. The book had in Italy a wonderful success. It's now in the 4th edition. The Skylar Farm is a 31 edition, so this is much more. But in any case, I'm very happy with this. And I told the story of these two women who saved the book, but I wrote it like a legend, like a legend of the courage of women. From Mush, women abandoned, women alone, they lost everything, and now they decided to do something for the Armenian culture, something who has to survive. So they cut the book, they split it up, and how they managed to do that. So I invented something, of course, but I put inside also 2 Greeks people, because I have many Greeks friends, and now also a big consideration for the way in which many Greeks saved Armenians. So 2 Greeks people, a little child.
This is what you're going to be talking about. It's going to be fascinating talk, I'm sure.
It will be translated in English published in a few months, I hope.
So it will be accessible to the English-speaking world as well.
Yes, I hope so. And also in Armenian, I hope, of course.
Barbara, as I said, you have a very impressive list of speakers from Armenia, from Turkey, from North America. There are many different panels. What do you hope to achieve? I mean, what is aside from networking, aside from bringing women together, are there specific projects that you do that you realize or implement in Armenia?
Yes. Over the years, we've supported many different projects in Armenia in different fields. Right now, we have 2 major projects that we're doing. One of them is the Women's Entrepreneurship Project, which is at the American University of Armenia. And this is in the Extension School, and it's a course that teaches women how to operate in the business world, because we think that today in the situation in Armenia, it's very important that they know how to run a business or be part of a business. We've been running this program for perhaps 10 years, and it's been very successful. We have 2 sessions a year, usually one in Yerevan and one in one of the provinces. Last year we had 2 sessions. One was for Syrian Armenian women, and the other was for the Armenian women. So that's one of our projects here. And the other one is the Women's Support Center, which is obviously a project of the Tufenkian Foundation, but we have supported that from the very beginning, because we feel that the issue of violence against women is an important one all over the world, including Armenia. And there is a great deal to be done in that area. And so we're very pleased that a coalition of, I think, 6 organizations has been formed here to work on the issue.
Coalition to Stop Violence Against Women.
And so we're very encouraged with the work that they're doing, but we realize it's only a first step. And the other thing we do that does benefit women in Armenia is we have a scholarship program for women of Armenian descent who are pursuing higher education. And that's open to women of Armenian descent all over the world. And I have to say that some of our best candidates, especially in the sciences, are from Armenia. Physics, math, we have very bright students. Our only regret is that we don't have more money to distribute. But of course, I think all Armenians feel that education is a key to the future. So those are the things basically we do for Armenia. Another major area we work in are publications, because we feel that the history of Armenian women is not known.
Yeah.
And when we're told that Armenia is a patriarchal society, we know that's true. We don't question that. But if you look at Armenian history, you will see that at every crisis, and there were many crises, I'm a historian basically, it's always the women who seem to carry on, whether you're talking about Vardanants, when all the men were either killed or taken prisoner, it's the women who carried on. And then we feel with the genocide, which is what we're looking at on the first day of our conference, the genocide affected women differently from men. We're not saying that one was better or one was worse, but it was different. And we feel that the subject of the effect of the genocide on women has not been properly studied, and we're trying to encourage that. And we're glad that scholars are beginning to work on that. And incidentally, Heidi Moyan at the Genocide Museum here is wonderful on that subject. So,
well, it is indeed a very important endeavor, I think, because, as you said, the writers of history oftentimes forget to mention the women who played a role or who were affected by those global sort of events, historical events that took place in our collective history. Antonia, why was it important? Or, you know, you've written about the genocide. Now you've written a book about the Book of Mush. Talk to me, just as a final thought, I think, to bring our discussion or our conversation to a logical conclusion, the role of Armenian women. How important is it? Should we be celebrating it in other ways? What have women contributed to the narrative of the Armenian people?
I think this, as Barbara said, is a wonderful field of studies now. Mm-hmm. And when I'm going through Italy, you know, has a very little Armenian mm-hmm. community, 2,000 people around. But people in Italy are very interested in the Armenian question, Armenian genocide, and everything concerning Armenians. And in the last time, I usually are speaking about the role of the women. Because I made a comparison between the Armenian women who in 1915 were literate, know how to write, mm-hmm. and Italian women know. Mm. And people is very impressed by that. Sure. And I am impressed. It's a field of studies, very interesting, and with many little stories.
That need to be
still
told.
To be told,
yes.
You know, yes. Many little stories. You found that in some memoir, right. Little pieces here and here. And for instance, tomorrow we should have also Fetiye Cetin.
That's right.
And I'm very, very, very friend of Fetiye, who I translated his book, her book in Italian, and made a preface to it, and had also a big success. And what had me impressed in the story of her grandmother was the fact that in Armenian, Heranush, her
grandmother's name,
was able to write. She wrote to her father in the United States a letter saying that she was finished class of the year, writing very well in Armenian characters. Mm-hmm. When she was taken from soldiers, Turkish soldiers, and inserted in his family. And she was completely become another person. In Turkish, she was completely illiterate because she has not the knowledge of this alphabet. You know, it's like a symbol. You know. In 1915, in her village, little Heranush, at 9 years old,
knew how to read and write.
How to read, how to write, send letters to her father in the United States. I think, like this story, many other stories have to be told. And the resilience, the courage, the way in which, since the men were killed, they have to keep all the possibility to have give
survive.
life, to survive and give life
Again.
new life again to their culture.
Right. Well, but it's about the resilience and courage of Armenian women.
Yes,
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 exactly
yes.
so.
Thank you so much for coming. All the best in all of the work and projects that you continue realizing in Armenia and in the diaspora. Antonia, it's always a pleasure for us to host you. Thank you for all that you have done as well, for your books, your movies, and your passion.
Thank you for having us, and we appreciate everything that CivilNet does. I have to say, in America, we always try to know what's going on in Armenia, and CivilNet
Yes,
does
yes.
help us. So thank you.
I received much, and it's always something to learn.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to remind our viewers that my guests were Barbara Mergeurian, she's the Vice President of AIWA, and Antonia Arslan, an academic and a writer. Stay with CivilNet.